What's up, world? This is your girl P. So, me versus them. That is the topic of discussion. Who do I talk about in my videos, in my recordings, or whatever you want to call them? Who should I talk about? Because when I look at it, if I talk about other people, I don't know them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally watched an astrology comedy video because a lot of people take astrology and turn it into comedy. If you're into astrology, you'll realize that it's quite funny because astrology teaches you about energy and the energy that we carry. We all have the same energies; they're just in different placements. Even though I'm a Gemini and I have that energy in my mind and I have that energy in my ego, you may have it somewhere else, but you have it. You know what I'm saying? And you do have the planet of Mercury in your birth chart, but you might have a different zodiac sign in it, but at the same time, it's still Gemini energy. You know what I'm saying? So I have watched a an astrologer. I don't even know if this person is an astrologer or not, but he just did a comedy on zodiac signs, and it was like a little comedy video, and he did one on Gemini women. And I'm laughing because I didn't see this back then. You know, when I was watching it, this might have been a year or so ago, and I didn't see it like that when I watched the video. But he had did like a skit. Yeah, it was a astrology comedy skit, and he did a skit. And when he did the Gemini part or Gemini woman part, it was a he was dressed up as a woman and he was doing TED talk like he had a microphone and he was he was portraying himself to be a Gemini woman, and when he was being that Gemini woman, he was just talking about himself the whole time. It's like, I'm this me this, me that, right? And I didn't see it at the time, but now I'm realizing it, it's like that's true because I do that, right? And why am I laughing? Because I would be offended by it if I wasn't an honest person, you know what I'm saying? But the reason why Geminis do this is because we have intelligence. It don't make sense to get on a podium and talk about other people. So who else are you going to talk about? If you get on a podium, a stage or whatever, and you get up there and you start talking about other people, that's wrong. So that's why Geminis do it. And you can look at it like, oh, you just making excuses. No, it's real talk. If this comedian did a video, a skit, an astrology skit, and he did that part on a Gemini woman, and he did a TED talk and had the microphone and saying like Geminis just talk about themselves. It's not about us talking about ourselves. It's like we are communicators. We talk regardless. That's our natural energy, is to communicate. That is the main thing about Gemini energy is talking, talking. But it don't make sense for us to talk about another person, because what that is if we are talking about another person, you're gossiping. Now, if you are high vibrational Gemini, you would talk about yourself because you have no other choice, because communication is your natural energy and you can't help it. It's air. It's going to come out regardless. So if you're going to use that air and you're going to speak, the smart thing to do is to talk about yourself. It's not because you're uppity and all of that. It's like, I can't help. Look how many videos I pump out. I'm going to be talking about something, but even when I'm talking about it, I put myself in it because I have to use examples when I'm giving information. And it don't make sense for me to talk about another person because I don't know them like that. And if I start talking about another person, it's going to come across as gossip, like I'm talking about them. How can I talk about somebody that I don't know? I use maybe two people outside of myself in All of the videos that I've ever made, one I did, I used my youngest daughter as an example, and the most recent one I used my granddaughter. But I wasn't talking about them. I was making a point. I can't even make a point about a person that I don't know because it's still going to come across as me talking about them. And that's one thing I refuse to do is talk about another person because I don't want nobody talking about me. So the only thing I can do is talk about myself. And you see what happens when people create channels and they start talking about people. It's like you putting out negative energy because you talking about somebody and you don't really know them like that. So when I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, is it me versus them? Like, what do you think? Like, you know what I'm saying? Look, I mean, like, really sit and ponder on that. What sense do it make for a person to get on the stage and talk about somebody? Because if you're doing that, it's like you're a comedian, and comedians get ridiculed for talking about people, but it's kind of okay for them in a sense to talk about other people because they're doing comedy. But at the end of the day, when you talk about other people, you're still in energy because you have to because if you're talking about another person, whether it be good or bad, you didn't get their permission to talk about them. You gotta ask people for permission to sit up there and talk about them because you saying something on a stage or on your platform and you're saying something about somebody, you don't even know if it's really true or not because you don't know them. And you could be going by something you heard, and what you heard could be wrong. And now you on your platform sitting there talking about it as if you know what you're talking about and you don't. And this is why Gemini women are smart. And I'm not saying we're smarter than other women. I'm just saying we're smart because it don't make sense to get on the stage to talk about anything. If you don't, the only person you do know better than anybody is yourself. So naturally, a person is going to twist it and make it seem like we are self-centered and we're just talking about ourselves. But who else are you going to talk about? You only should be talking about somebody you know, and you know no one better than yourself. From the day that you was born, you've never been around no one. Out of the 24 hours every single day, who have you been around the most? Yourself. You wasn't even around your own parent 24 hours out of a day, 7 days a week. They walk out of a room, they leave you while you sleep. You are with yourself 100% of the time. You know yourself better than you know anybody else. So it's only smart and intelligent and wise to talk about yourself. So is it me versus them? What do you think? You think it's self-centered to talk about yourself? Or you think it's more wiser to talk about somebody else? Inquiring minds want to know. But that's all I got for you. And I holla though. One love. Peace.